So someone gives you 500 gallons of used vegetable oil and you want to make biodiesel. So this is my first run at it. It's a mess getting it out here because these barrels are just whacked. Most of them are closed tops, but I have an open top barrel that I'm using first, and I'm sucking it out with a transfer pump. This is a diesel transfer pump, and it's working really well with this oil, but it's also a fairly warm day. It's about 85 degrees. So the idea is to pump it with the transfer pump to that nozzle into that bucket. The first strainer is just a general strainer, and then I've got a 400 micron strainer that's underneath that. So what I do when that's full, which I'll show you, is I just pull the two strainers up, get all the oil out of the strainers, dump the strainer in my bucket over here to drip dry, and then I'll put it back and redo this. But that gets the oil pretty darn clean. And then I'm going to run it into this big funnel here, into a 55-gallon drum that used to have Delvac 1540 synthetic blend. There's just a little bit left in there. I got out as much as I could, but that won't hurt my biodiesel at all. Okay, turning it on. Dirty job, by the way. And then opening up the nozzle into here. I'll just run it until it's just about full, and then I'll show you how I strain it. Okay, I'm going to try to do this without dropping my phone in the oil, but you can see the strainer does a pretty good job. So I'll strain this out, and I'll use the bucket to the other side over there to just hold the filters while I transfer the clean oil into the 55-gallon drum. Okay, now I'm going to dump 5 gallons of oil into this thing and hope it doesn't spill too bad. Just gotta go slow and it'll go. Can't really see me doing this, but you get the idea. Anyway, that's pretty darn clean vegetable oil. Mix that with, currently I'm doing 2 parts vegetable oil and 1 part diesel with 2 quarts of ATX, automatic transmission fluid. I don't think I really need to do that. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to run 15 gallons of vegetable oil, 1 quart of ATF, and then top that off with another 5 gallons of diesel fuel. And so far so good, it's running like a top. So this is an incredibly dirty job, incredibly dirty. You have oil on your hands all the time, and if you're lucky and you get away without having all over your clothes or in your boots, that's a really good thing. But you're going to need to have a lot of tools. You're going to have one of these for sure, because you're constantly wiping your hands because you're saturated in it. Anyway, I'll fill you in on other tools later. Okay, I've hit water. See how milky that is? What I did was I pushed the hose down into the bottom, stupid me, of this barrel. And this barrel has been out in the open for quite some time, and I guess water has gotten into it. The water is in the bottom and the oil is on top. So now what I have to do is I have to filter this, and then I'm going to let it sit overnight, and then I'm going to try to decant the oil into the barrel of the clean oil without getting the water in it. And then I have to let it sit one more time and decant it again in a smaller container, and then I can throw the water out. It's a good idea to take that first barrel and use it as a dump barrel once you've got it empty. You're going to have to take the pickup for your sump pump and drop it in the next tank. And the best thing to do now that you've got a clean out tank is to go ahead and drop that sump screen all the way to the bottom and run it. That way you're going to pull out any of the water first and eliminate that problem completely. You can also take, if you find you've got water in your fill bucket that is being filtered, just dump it right into that other clean tank too, this one here, and then over time this will settle and you can suck off that that top oil coat and dump the water. So that's what it looks like. It looks like melted ice cream or butter. You'll sometimes see air bubbles in the oil, but that's just that's fine, that's just air bubbles. But once it gets milky like this, you're screwed. So my operation has come to a halt. I cannot do any more until I clean my filters, let them dry, and then decant this oil off. And then tomorrow afternoon when it's hot again, I'll go back to my operation here and try to get some more of this oil transferred and cleaned. It's a dirty job, let me tell you. But when someone gives you 500 gallons of used oil that you can turn into fuel, right now I'm, with what the ratios that I'm running, I'm probably averaging about $1.70. No, yeah, about $1.70 a gallon. What I do is I run it in my 97 F250 in the back tank. By doing that, I'm able to start and stop it on diesel, keeping the injectors when they go cold with diesel fuel in them and no vegetable oil. So I only fill up the back tank with the vegetable oil mix, and then I fill the front tank up with diesel. And then these trucks have a pretty cool front and rear fuel switch. So right now I've got it on the rear, but I need to flip that with the front when I pull my truck up so I have diesel in there. Anyway, that's the idea. Quick note, I have been running with some pretty thin oil that I've got in the left drum, but now I'm running in some thicker oil. The transfer pump's taking a lot more load to get this thicker oil pump, so I'm going to separate it. I don't want to mix the thinner with the thicker, and I'm going to mark this drum the thicker oil, and by doing that it's going to remind me to add more automatic transmission fluid to the blend in order to get my viscosity up. With that thinner oil over there, I don't even think I need any ATF, but I'm going to put probably 1 quart per tank full, depending if I'm doing 10 or 15 gallons. With the thicker oil, I'll probably put 2 quarts per tank full, but I'll do some testing first to see how that comes out. With an open container barrel like this, I could probably just take this transfer pump system and the hose and just, instead of using a bucket here, I could just wrap the filter system around the end of the nozzle of this pump system, and it would just filter it as it went right in. But I don't want to do that in this case because the transfer pump is having a much more difficult time. So by running 5-gallon buckets, it gives it a little bit of a chance to rest between bucket dumps. Anyway, side note.